Hey guys, John here with Survival Dispatch. With me as always, Chris Weatherman, and today's special guest from Life Survival, Aaron Phillips. You guys might know him from Naked and Afraid. Yes, today, if you're not seeing this on video, if you're seeing it on podcast form, he has clothes on, just so you guys know.
They won't be seeing it though if it's on podcast form.
Yeah, so I'm letting them know.
So you'll be hearing it on podcast.
I'll describe what's really going on.
Oh my goodness, we're already off to a great start here. All right, guys.
The visuals.
Today's topic is if you had to walk into the woods with only 5 items for 72 hours or so, what 5 items would you take? So we each picked 5 items that we would throw in a bag with us or throw in our person even, head off into the woods and deem ourselves to be ready to rock and roll. Yeah. So, and this is kind of, taken along the lines of taking care of the priorities of fire, food, water, shelter, things like that to keep you going. So some of our items you're going to see are the same as we go through our 5 items. Some are different, and we'll kind of talk about the approach and the reasons why. So so we'll start off. We'll start off with water. Let's go with water here. So for me, I'm going with this is a titanium Snow Peak. It's just, I pulled this off the drawer here. Everything else is pretty much in packs or something. So, but a way to boil water. It's the best way to purify water, get rid of everything. So for me, I'm going with a metal pot.
Yeah,
Chris?
and I same thing. I got a Toaks titanium, but not only can you boil water, you can cook in this thing. And you can even dig with it too if you need to. So it's got more than one purpose. And the titanium is just lightweight. Yeah. So, and I like the Toaks cup. That's what I'm using.
Yeah, and I try to get it as big as possible. This is the 150, 20, 25 ounce one, just because when you're boiling water at that rate, it takes a while to cool down. So, if you got a small 8-ounce cup, dude, it's going to take forever
to hydrate yourself. Yeah, because you're going to be 45 minutes when you take it off the fire just to get it drinkable.
Yeah,
you're going to dehydrate by the fire. Dehydrate.
Oh, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. It's a vicious
constant battle.
So, Aaron, what are you going with as far as water here? You're a little bit different approach.
Water. I went with the Life Straw. I can obviously obtain clean water through the Life Straw. I have a little experience making burn bowls, and I'm fairly decent at resourcing the wood to do that. So as far as something to carry the water in, as these gentlemen have displayed, I can kind of make that on the fly. But for me, Life Straw is the way to go.
Yeah, and what's cool about this kind of approach that Chris and I always joke about, because Chris and I pretty much never agree on hardly anything, is we have resources and tools in order to make other things that can help us as well.
Yep,
so, as you'll see, we carry some tools with regards to blades and stuff like that. So, some of you guys out there, I know you're probably saying Aaron doesn't have a way to carry any water. Aaron knows how to take things like bamboo and things like that in order to carry water. So he can filter the water, into a bamboo chute.
And again, we're talking about 48 hours, 72 hours overnight. Where you're in all probably going to be staying static, or if you are moving, you're just trying to get back to your car. So this isn't like a long term, I'm going to go live in the woods with this stuff.
Which is a great point that gets overlooked quite a bit. I think you guys will agree, is people are like, oh, you need these items for survival. Well, there's a big difference, and you guys know this, between long-term, medium-term, and short-term survival.
Absolutely. So so as far as water, we got 2 pots that we're boiling in and a Life Straw. Some of the cons to these, like Chris and I said, you're going to have to wait for water to cool down a little bit.
And you have to get a fire.
And you have to get a fire going.
So,
and in my case, I've got to fabricate something to carry water in.
Yeah. And the other thing with the Life Straw too is it can make you more prone to staying near a water source because you have to be pretty much knee deep in it to get water sucked up into the straw. Where Chris and I are able to scoop and carry it back to a camp or something like that if it's a better location. So that's the pros and cons, but we all know that water is the most important thing, especially within 72 hours. You're going to need it.
Yeah, you're going to need water. Food you can go without for this kind of duration, but you're going to need to drink water.
So, all right, second item, we all have one, so we'll go with that. Number 2, a knife.
A knife.
Yep.
So Aaron and I are both rocking some fixed blade knives here.
Fixed blade.
Aaron, what's yours?
SE5.
SE5.
It's designed for downed pilots over enemy lines. It's got the bow drill divot. I can easily go on my Fire Striker, which we'll get to in a second. So all around, very, very solid knife. Not too heavy to carry, still makes for a good chopper. So this would be my go-to.
Chris?
I've just got my ZT folder today because it's always in my pocket. So I looked at this kind of a, what would be in my truck? What would I certainly have on me? Well, obviously, what's in my truck I could do a lot more with, but for purposes of this,
you're not in your truck.
I'm not in my truck, but this is always in my pocket. And everybody acts like you've got to have a big fixed blade. You can do a lot with one of these.
And that's a lot lighter than this.
That's a lot lighter than that thing is. Drawback is it is a folder and it doesn't have quite the length, but I can do about anything that they can do with one of these. Just take me a little more time. The good thing about it is it's smaller, so for fine work, close work, it's a lot handier to use. And it's always in my pocket. I always have. If I'm out of my house, actually, if I'm out of my bed, I have this on me.
Yeah, and guys, when it comes to folding blades, if it's like a Benchmade, a Spyderco, a ZT, a Emerson, I have batoned inch and a half, 2-inch logs.
Yeah.
I mean, beat the mess out of them. As long as they have like a strong liner lock in them, you're going to be fine to be able to pretty much beat the mess out of them. I've even taken lighter weight, like you guys have probably seen the Benchmade bug out knife video that I did. That's a solid plastic handle.
Yeah, there's no liners
and
or nothing there.
I batoned the mess out of that thing. So I have no issue with a folding knife. I'm going to rock a fixed blade just because. I'm not taking this one out of the sheath. This is a collaboration that we're working on with a company right now. So there'll be some more information. There'll be some more information soon. But fixed blade knife for me. The awesome thing about a fixed blade too, I mean, this is if you had to, you could dig with it.
Sure.
You could hunt with it.
Oh, yeah.
So a knife gives you a ton of ability, build shelters, you name it. So,
yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that you should be able to fabricate it in nature. Like, you can nap flint, you can do that kind of thing, but if flint knives are superior to steel knives, we'd still be carrying
I think it's great that everybody brought a blade to the table. This is one of the things that I key on. Like, if you don't have a cutting tool, you're taking it back 10,000 years.
Yeah.
And I'll say, too, the knife is one tool that can make a lot of other tools.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll make all your tools.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And if somebody had showed up without a knife, I'd be looking sideways. I mean, I'd have been like...
So
yeah. All right, let's you and me go in the woods for 3 days. Let's see how this works out.
So number two for all of us...
Here in Florida.
So number two for all of us here is a knife.
Yeah.
So we've covered water. We've kind of covered tools with a knife or the blade. So let's go into shelter. We kind of went 3 different approaches, which was cool. I went smaller, lightweight because I figured Chris was going to bring what he brought. I went with just an emergency blanket.
Nice.
If it's cold winter day, something like that, it can keep you from getting dehydrated, keep you from getting hypothermic.
Yep.
So to a degree, to help wrap you up. It's super lightweight, fits into any pocket, and I mean, any lean-to A-frame, anything like that, it can pretty much make it almost waterproof as well. I mean, I know everybody's going to say palm fronds are...
Go build one.
They leak no matter what you do.
I promise you.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are at thatching palm fronds on a roof.
Yeah.
You're
and go build one too. Yeah. We built with that little class we had what, 8 people working on a shelter. It took us like 2.5 hours to build
about
something
half a day.
for one person with 8 people working on it. Whereas something like this, or in my case, a tarp, I can put this up in 10 minutes.
Chris, what are you going with here?
Yeah, this is a tarp. This is by 5-Star Gear. This is a 10x10 tarp. Tarps, to me, there is no reason for somebody not to carry a tarp.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You cannot improvise anything in the wild as good as waterproofing ability is what a tarp will do for you.
Absolutely.
And they're light. I mean, this one's a little bit bulky because it's a heavier duty tarp.
Yeah.
It's not one of the siliconized nylon ones. Those are great for lightweight stuff, but they're also very fragile.
Yes.
They will rip real easy. Yeah. This thing won't. So it's a little bit bigger, but I can rely on this thing too. And if I need to, I can throw this thing out on the ground, pile firewood onto it, and drag it back to my camp. There's a lot of stuff I can do with it. So it's a pretty heavy-duty piece of gear. And like I said, I don't think anybody who goes into the wilderness should go without one of these in a bag.
And for those that don't know, siliconized nylon, what Chris is talking about is like the blue tarps that you get at like Home Depot.
No.
Or the thin ones.
The very
thin ones.
The thin ones, not the blue ones.
Yeah, the blue ones. they're going to deteriorate
Yeah,
quite quickly. All right, and then Aaron, what are you going with as far as a shelter option?
I went with same concept that Chris went with, just a little on the cheap. It's a 9x9 Tyvek piece of house wrap. This is a vapor barrier they wrap on the exterior of a home before they run up their lath and stucco and everything. Incredible asset to have in a situation like this, where you're 48 to 72 hours out in a survival situation. Incredibly light. You almost can't tear it.
It's very difficult.
With the 9x9 and with the 10x10 also, like the number of ways that you can fashion a tarp is just
as long as you have a square. You know, you see a lot of the rectangle style tarps, and I'm not a fan of those. I like the square because, like you just said,
9x9.
if I want to put up a plow point, A-frame, whatever I want to do, I can do it with a square tarp.
The only drawback, and this is from personal experience, with using Tyvek is it's incredibly loud. And I know that sounds really crazy, but especially if rain's hitting this, you know, I mean, it's like you've got an ear on a tin roof in a storm. I mean, you hear everything. Every time the wind blows, you hear it rattling.
I've used it as ground cloths for tents a lot because you can cut the exact shape of your
footprint. Perfect vapor barrier.
So it works really well for that. Guaranteed, pretty much no moisture is going to come up through the ground, you know, dew and stuff like that. So yeah, Tyvek's been used for
something
a long time.
I just thought about is, being that this is waterproof, it wouldn't take but like a small section to do the origami paper.
You could
cut
make.
type
I was
thing,
going to say you could make.
and
a
I can carry water with
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Absolutely. A very versatile.
You could definitely cut a piece out of that, you know.
Absolutely.
1 foot by 1 foot ish section and make a nice little.
Make a cup out of it.
Yeah.
You could, you could do quite a few things with it. So, you know, and if in Tyvek, I mean, you can get that at Home Depot. You can get it pretty much anywhere. It's usually white and it says Tyvek all over it.
Just or Lowe's or Home Depot or wherever you buy it from.
You're gonna look like the side of a NASCAR. When you
The
make
tough
your tent.
thing trying to get it through Lowe's and Home Depot, it is available, but your size is going to be off because most of the time when they wrap a house, they're wrapping in like 4 foot and it's on a roll.
Right.
So getting a hold of a 9x9 panel was a little difficult, but it is out there. If you search
Where did you search?
eBay.
Okay.
I bought 10 of them all at one time.
Oh, really?
I had these little packets that I put together, a lot of these same items, you know, or similar items, and I'm down to like 2 of them left. And this one's my go-to. This one stays in my backpack.
It looks like it stays in your backpack.
It does. It does.
And that's the good thing about this stuff too, is it wears well. It takes the abuse.
Oh
so.
yeah.
So that's shelter. So we'll throw that in the front there. That's number 3. So the last 2, you know, one of us were pretty close, and then the other one we kind of went all off the map. So so we're gonna go with fire, number 4. So for me, 72 hours. You know, I want guaranteed fire the easiest way possible. So I'm just going with a lighter. This is the Jeep. It's like a Bic lighter. A lot of people use these. They just last longer than a mini Bic. They just have more fuel and stuff in them for about the same footprint. So they last a long time, and they throw a little bit bigger of a flame than a Bic lighter. So that's why I like them. It's a DJEEP. I guess I'm going with the Jeep.
The Jeep.
Don't ask me what it means. I have no clue at all. But you can get them on Amazon. Packs
Probably
of 5.
the city in India where they're made.
Probably. You know. But they've been super reliable. And like I said, the only reason why I like these over a Bic lighter is they throw a bigger flame, and it's easier to get a fire started. So for me, fire, I'm going lighter.
Well, and I'm doing fire too, but I went with Pure Fire Tactical Magnesium and ferro rod combination. Bobby Lynn's the guy that makes these things. This one's enclosed in a piece of like PVC. It folds out, and he even includes a striker in there with it. So this thing strikes super easy. This is the magnesium used in these by Pure Fire Tactical is the best magnesium on the market. It is so soft. I mean, my folding knife can very easily scrape very fine curls off this thing, very long curls too. And this is a great fire starter. In my fire kit, I have a lighter too, but if I'm going to have just a one go-to,
you're going with that.
This isn't going to get wet and not work. If you get that wet, you're going to be forever drying it out. This can get wet. It's still going to strike. So, and with the magnesium, I can get something burning. So,
all right. So Pure
Fire Tactical.
And
Aaron?
not to hammer the same brand out there, but Pure Fire Tactical. I mean, the best of the best is the best. I mean, when it comes down to it, that's all.
Dude, this is like Fred Flintstone's.
This
fire
one
starter.
is
looks like
actually
it.
this one was custom made by Bobby Lynn for me, and it's got a fat wood handle, so I can peel lighter knot from the handle, turn around, put my same high grade quality magnesium, super soft, get those, like Chris was saying, those big peels instead of like the little flakes that you get with most of the other ones. And then of course the spark is just, I mean, making it rain, you know, it's incredible. So I went with my Purifier Tactical Fire Striker as well. And I do agree though, hands down, one of man's greatest inventions, and only come up here in the last, say, 50 years or so, is by far a Bic lighter or a small lighter like that. It's got the flint. Yes, it will get wet. It can be dried out. But, I mean, dude, how else are you going to get 2,000 flames in a row?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's
guaranteed flame, too.
Yeah.
So
solid.
So I mean, you know, fire, it's important. You have to have it. It doesn't matter. You could be wet. You could be cold. For Chris and I, we're using it also for our water, which, you know, it's a pro and a con. Chris and I have the ability, if we wanted to cook some meat, if we were able to trap a small game.
Procure some.
But, you know, Aaron, with a water filter over a pot, he doesn't have to worry about fire in order to get clean drinking water super fast.
Yeah, he doesn't have to have it, right.
So that's
that's a huge benefit. If he comes across a water source, he can lay down, take a drink right now, whereas we
keep moving.
are going to have to take an hour, build a fire, get a rolling boil, then be able to drink it.
So yes, but we all agree that, you know, fire is super important.
Absolutely.
And
the psychological boost, even if you're lost in the woods,
absolutely,
and you're having to spend a night out, you might be a little nervous, you might be whatever. Being able to get a fire going, I mean, that's one of mankind's, goes back as far as mankind does, of sitting around that fire. It's just psychological boost. You know, there's something reaffirming about it,
and you feel safe. I know. There's many times. Well, all three of us, we've been out, and you know, they've got the night ops, and we're seeing all these critters and stuff all around us. And for some reason, you're sitting by a fire, all that kind of melts away. You're like, I'm good though. I got a fire.
I got a fire. Yeah.
It's only a fire this big, but for some reason, you're like, dude, we're good. We got this all day. Like, golden.
Nothing's coming in.
It's that invisible net.
Force field.
It's like
Puts a force field around you.
So yeah. All right. So number five. Chris and I kind of went down the same path. Aaron went different, and so we'll go through our reasons why, since we're all a little different here. Because we covered pretty much water, we covered fire, we covered shelter, which are the big three. We all carry a knife, so you know we'll kind of debate why we're carrying the fifth one.
Yeah.
So all right. So for me, flashlight.
I did the same thing.
I'm taking a flashlight. It can be used, you know, as number one, a signaling. If we're in an area where, you know, we're in the woods for 72 hours, we didn't necessarily plan to be in the woods for 72 hours. You know, you can signal people, you can signal help, you can signal planes. With today's, you know, flashlight technology, you can reach out hundreds and hundreds of yards. A lot of flashlights, mine doesn't, but you can set it to where it has beacon modes, SOS modes, strobe,
whatever.
you know, things like that to signal people as well. Animals don't like flashlights.
And two, like we were just talking about, too, if you're stuck in the woods overnight, especially people that don't spend a lot of time in the woods, everybody gets afraid when the sun goes down and it gets dark. There's a psychological boost to what was that, and turning on a light and looking around. But the reason that I chose the flashlight is, again, it's always in my pocket. I always have this
part
on
of
me.
your EDC.
It's part of my, like I said, when I get out of bed in the morning, I pick my pocket knife up off of my nightstand, put it in my pocket, and my flashlight, I put it in my pocket, and then I put my pistol on. Those three things are on me when I step out of bed in the morning. So it's just always there. And yeah, the psychological benefit of being able to just hit something, and not to mention the signaling, which we're talking about a short-term event where you may or may not have planned to do this, and you might need rescue.
Your goal is to get rescue.
Your goal is to be seen. So having something like this that is super bright make you seen from a long ways away.
So for our fifth item, Chris and I went flashlights. Aaron, you went with?
I went with paracord, food, shelter, fire, water, cordage. Cordage is one of those things, even if you know how to make cordage.
It's time-consuming.
It's time-consuming, and just foraging the material. You get the right vines, you get the right bark, whatever your situation, wherever you are, and now you got to sit there for 4 hours while it soaks in the water. If you have water, so that you can loosen up to start the process of making cordage. This is the one thing that holds the world together. I mean, from the way that steel bridges are suspended to the clothes that we're wearing, it all starts with a tiny wrap, all the same, which takes a ton of time, but a huge resource. So I went with the paracord.
Yeah, and so you can see where you can you can attack issues with different items.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
So, I mean, and Aaron does have a huge leg up. I mean, if the three of us were to say we're going to build a shelter right now, you know, Aaron's going to probably find 2 trees or something and make an A-frame with his cordage and his tarp. Me, I'm wrapping up in a emergency blanket. That's going to be my go-to shelter unless I'm building an A-frame or something, and that's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, so if nasty weather's rolling in, Aaron probably has the fastest shelter option because of the cordage. Now, if Chris and I hear somebody in the distance, Aaron's got nothing but his lungs to signal people.
Right.
You know, where Chris and I have the ability to reach out further
At night.
At night with something that contrasts.
Yeah.
You know, so so I mean that's some of the different approaches. I was debating between cordage.
Yeah.
I was like cordage.
I was debating about the flashlight thing.
Well,
So
and,
I was like,
even, you know, we're talking about signaling too.
Yeah.
You know, having one of these
yeah.
in nature, in the wild,
That's how Chris gets called for dinner.
pretty much is how it
Mel
happens.
just bangs on a pot.
That's a hell of a mating call.
Yeah.
But just thinking outside the box too.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
using everything you have at your
Absolutely.
resource. Because again, this is what you got. You have these items right here, and what can you do with them?
Yep.
And like I said, even digging with this thing.
Yep.
You know, boiling water with it, whatever, cooking with it, using it as even a container for out foraging. If there's berries in season or something, you can pile them in this thing and bring it back. So you're going to use everything you have to the nth degree of its ability, and anything you can come up creatively too.
Absolutely.
So yeah, having a stew to bang on for daytime signaling we were just talking about, that's pretty loud, and I wasn't even hitting it that hard. So
yeah.
it rings out.
So, you know, those are the items that we're carrying, guys. You want to add anything to the end here?
I'm good.
You got anything?
Always keep your options open.
That's
As
right.
you can see, we all brought something different to the table. There's no hard, fast.
There is no right.
Except for the cutting tool. I'm going to stick by that one.
I think I would agree.
Yeah.
I think that if you had to pick 2 items, for me it's a knife and a pot, because a pot that you can boil in it's hardest thing to make.
Next to this, next to your knife,
Yes.
this container is the hardest thing to manufacture in nature. And you can't manufacture anything like this in nature that will do what it will do. Now, yes, you can make a burn bowl, or you can make a skin bag to boil water in, or rock boil. I can place this on a fire.
Yeah.
You can't do that with primitive containers unless you've got time to dig up clay, form a bowl, fire the clay, and all that stuff. If it's a 72-hour event, you're not doing all that.
Yeah.
Right.
And most people wouldn't be able to do that anyway. So these 2 items right here are the hardest things to produce in nature.
Agreed.
So.
All right. So guys, those are the 5 items we picked. To, you know, if we were heading out into the woods or stuck in the woods for 72 hours, if we only had 5 items, you can say it a bunch of different ways. If there's 5 items you must have in your bag, these are the 5 items that I would always make sure for sure were in there. So we would love to hear what you guys think, what you guys would put in your 5 items. So make sure you comment below, hit the like button. Feel free to ask us any questions with regards to what we're carrying also. If you guys got any other why questions, feel free to leave those below. And until next time, be safe.